right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Toucan Plays. I am Mr. Toucan himself, and I've got a special guest with me. This is Monster Jam fan. What's your real name?
MonsterTrucks fan 2700. Just call me John.
John. That's it. Okay, John. Yep. How's it going, John?
Going good. How about you, man?
Good, good. So, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm actually I'm 25 years old. I'm a certified game developer. Just recently passed qualifications 2 or 3 years ago now, so I've been a developer for a couple of years.
Cool. So you play games for a living, right?
Correct.
That's awesome. And then you give feedback to the developers, and they can choose to implement the feedback that you give them. Or if it doesn't fit in their plan, they don't necessarily have to, but you give them feedback. Gotcha. Okay, and you mentioned that you're a game developer, a programmer, right? Is that right?
Yes, low-level programming.
Low-level programming.
Coding. So like low-level coding, basically just fix code that is either broken, but like on a lower level.
Okay, cool.
So I don't do like major code.
No, that's cool. So are there any projects that you've done that we would know?
Yes, I've worked on Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. I have worked on both Unleashed 1 and Unleashed 2. And I also worked on Monster Energy Supercross as well.
Now, so you, through your contacts with Milestone, do you know some people that still work at Milestone?
Yes, I do know a couple of people, but it's been kind of in and out of touch. So like sometimes we chat about things, and I definitely still provide feedback and send them some information on like ideas, but that's mostly about it. We don't really do anything with the betas anymore because the beta that I accessed was at a special private event that I was invited to.
Sure. So the beta,
I was not able to do that.
So that kind of gets us to the meat of our conversation here, is that we're talking about Monster Jam Showdown, of course, right? So you have played Monster Jam Showdown before, is that right?
Yes, I have.
Cool, but it was at a special meet and greet kind of thing?
Event that was private event. Locked to like locked to an area not far from where I live.
Gotcha, okay. And how did you get that invite? Just because you worked with them previously?
Because I worked with Milestone, and I also have contacts with other companies. I was able to do some other stuff with them as well, too.
When you had that private event, you got to play it, but there were some things that you can talk about and that you can't talk about, right?
Correct. Yes, there are very limited things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Gotcha. So, and that's locked behind what's called an NDA. What is exactly an NDA?
Non-disclosure agreement. So basically, for those of you who don't know what an NDA is, a non-disclosure agreement basically states that you cannot talk about certain things that either a company does not want you specifically talking about, aka private information. Like, for example, you can't like say like or criticize a game. You can't like criticize developers or blackmail them or anything like that. Basically, you're locked to say only specific things, and that's it. You can't go any more beyond that. Otherwise, you could face a lawsuit in court, which would be
bad,
heavily bad.
That'd be very bad. Yeah, no lawsuits. Okay, so we're not going to talk about anything that would get you in trouble. I don't want that to happen.
Yep,
of course.
Don't worry about it. I know what I'm allowed to say when I get to it.
Okay, good. That being said, are there any trucks that you've played personally that are going to be a big surprise to my audience?
So to start with, I did not get access to the DLC trucks. So that's one thing I can safely say I did not get a chance to play.
So how about like the base game trucks? Are there anything? I know we've gotten.
Okay, so the base game trucks, the ones that I did play were like Gravedigger, Max D, pretty much the ones you've seen in the trailers. I've played a good chunk of those, except for the Independents. I did not get as much time to do those. I was limited to like about 2 hours of a game time, so I did not have very long to do every single truck of the game. That's just not possible.
Sure.
And they also locked a bunch of trucks, so there was the select number of trucks that we were allowed to play.
Gotcha. Okay, so there were only a few. Now, during the truck selection screen, did you get to see any that were on the truck selection screen that maybe we haven't seen yet?
The ones that I got to see are the ones that we've seen pretty much already. I haven't seen any ones that are locked. All the ones that were locked literally just said locked and like a lock image on the screen. So meaning I couldn't see any.
Gotcha. So everything. So it just had a symbol that said locked. I gotcha.
I know they don't have it available or it's not ready in that build.
Okay. So this has just been a personal thing. It's been eating at me since the Tyler Menega trailer. The little symbols in the top, like the desert on Brutus. What is that little cactus? What does that mean? Do you have any idea?
Honestly, from what the game tutorials gave, is that little cactus is just something that you can hit for like extra points in
Oh,
your
no.
racing
Like
flow.
in the character select screen, like when you go to
In the
select your
character
track.
select screen,
Uh-huh.
I actually didn't catch that. That was
Ah,
something I didn't notice. So that's something I'm not too familiar with. I didn't see the.
okay, that's fine. I didn't really expect you to know. I just was curious if you had any clues. All right, so how about you personally then? Are there any trucks that you're looking forward to?
Personally, I'm looking forward to the Max D original. That's one that I think a lot of people are excited about because it's on the Mintz chassis, also known as the Wilmot chassis, which it uses essentially the same thing.
Uh-huh.
It's a front engine chassis, so a lot of people are excited for that because that's one of their favorite chassis.
So that leads me to another question though. Did you notice any difference? Or because you didn't get to play the DLC chassis or the DLC, so you didn't get to play with that chassis. I'm wondering if the chassis are really going to make a difference as far as gameplay goes. I personally don't think that it's going to, but
it's not going to be like Beam G levels of like comparison.
Right.
If I'm going to be realistic with you guys, that's not their vision. I do know there's some chassis that feel heavier than others. Like for example, Corey Rummel chassis or CRC. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's Avengers chassis. So that's definitely going to be a noticeable difference. But I don't think in game from what I've seen other people play, because I did see other people did play Avenger and a couple others. From what I've seen is it's only a 2-speed. So I don't think it's that big of a difference. But I did notice that the chassis seemed to be a lot heavier than the trucks I played. So I think that's where they're going with it. Is they're kind of taking like half of it and making it something special, and maybe the other half they're just not including. I don't know. I didn't really get long enough time to really play the game. So
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about Milestone and some of the criticism that I've seen online for them. The biggest thing that people have been complaining about is that they're dumbing down the game. They're making it too kiddie. They're making the physics too wild and out of character, not out of character, but supernatural, like being able to do super crazy flips and things like that, making the gravity seem to act really crazy. Is that what you've seen? Or do you think that they are, I know that they're not, they never even said that they're taking a realistic approach.
Yeah, they never did. They never said that they were taking a full realistic approach. They're taking more of a, I guess you could say, like a arcade racing simulation physics. So like how Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 has some like weird kind of floaty physics, but at the same time super realistic, so it stays on the track normally for like racing and such. That's kind of their approach with this. They want to take like a hybrid of that. They want to take like what's good about realism and what's also not good about realism, and they want to see where they can meet somewhere in the middle and then say, okay, this is the version we're going to go with. They're not totally dumbing it down because they have to cater to both sides of the fan base. The older fans, with obviously what they want, realistic physics and such, but also a younger audience that really just wants a fun, enjoyable game that they can just go and have fun with.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I kind of fit into that category too. I want to just sit down and play a game and have fun, not worry about tuning my engine and tuning my shocks and suspension.
Same thing here. I'm the same thing. To me, what I look for in a fan or in a Monster Jam game in general, is it going to be fun? Is it going to be something that other people can enjoy? Like, is there going to be like, does it look good? Does it play good? Those are the factors to me that tell me whether or not a game is worth it.
One of the things that I've noticed though, pretty consistently, is that the physics seem, because you were talking about Hot Wheels Unleashed, right? And how they're kind of mixing Hot Wheels Unleashed with the realism and trying to add some of that realism. One of the things that I've noticed pretty consistently is that the physics do seem to act a little bit more like it's a toy. Do you think that might have been the direction that they were trying to go in, or maybe that they should have gone in, is making it more of a Spin Master game, like a toy type?
To be honest with you, I don't think that that's their vision. I think initially they wanted something that could just appeal to everybody. So like something that could just be like, oh, kids could do crazy backflips with ease, but also something where the older fans could still do somewhat of a realistic backflip, but still get enjoyment.
Okay, so I've taken a few questions from my audience, and they've asked a lot of things that you probably don't have access to. You don't have answers
and
for.
I did notice that as well. I read some of the questions,
but I'm gonna ask them anyway, and you can just say, "Hey, I don't know that," whatever. But so first off, we're looking at 40 trucks at release, right, on the base game.
Yes, 40 trucks and 26 more will be added in post DLC.
26. Okay, so and we know of 4 of them right off the bat, right? The The 4 that we get from the pre-order, 4 of the DLCs,
yes.
right?
Yep, those are pre-order exclusive to start with, but I believe they're going to get added later, from what I was told. So like they'll be available as like a separate pack you get.
I got you. So they'll be initially offered as the pre-order bonus, but then
Correct.
later on they'll be added later. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's usually how Milestone does things.
And so then we're looking at 20 plus more trucks to be added down the line in DLC. Is that right?
Yes.
And that could be paid or free.
What I was told is how they're going to handle it is they're going to have anywhere between 2 to 4 trucks per pack.
So, I mean, we could be looking at, 10 DLC? That seems like a lot. I mean, especially because Steel Titans...
Again, that's over time. So they're probably going to space it out a little bit. So, it's going to be over the span of, like, a year to 2 years, depending on how they do it. Because that's what they did with Unleashed 1 and 2 with the season passes.
It's also a lot easier to include a Hot Wheels car than it would be to do a monster truck. I get that.
Yeah, that's why I said it's going to probably be spaced out over time, because these chassis took a long time to develop, and they have to make sure that the chassis matches.
That kind of leads me to my next question then is, are the DLCs going to be just new trucks? Are they going to add new tracks as well, or new liveries?
From what I've been told right now, it seems to be only trucks. But I did hear that updates post-launch will probably include some extra features, but it depends on what is possible within the game and what's not. So there are limitations to every game, like livery customizations, stuff like that. That's probably something that they'll add over time.
Now, what I'm wondering though is, are you going to be able to mix and match liveries with different chassis?
Unfortunately, as far as I know, it's locked to that specific truck. So it's specifically to the body, like it's not to the chassis.
Right. So the whole thing changes, tires and
it's the tires and the body are the two that are going to be locked to that, which is about what I expected.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of people that are kind of upset about Sparkle Smash in particular. Has got those blue tires, and they'd like to be able to switch those tires out.
Yeah, the thing is, that's because it's based off the toy. It's based off the toy, so that's what they wanted to go with, and that's about expected. They didn't have access to the real life one.
The real truck, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to be able to customize your tires and things like that, but I do get it that's kind of... Again, it's like Hot Wheels Unleashed is really cool because you can create your own liveries.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe they will include a livery thing down the road. And like I said, that's something they can add in a future update, or
maybe
even
Showdown 2 will have it. That'd be kind of cool if Showdown 2.
Wait for a sequel. Yeah, that's another thing that can happen too. Because remember, guys, this is Milestone's first true Monster Jam. So you kind of have to cut them a bit of slack here. This is not like something that they're just that they've been developing for years.
When you play, did you see any kind of XP progression or experience points that you had to...
It's not based off of XP. I believe it's based off of so it's similar to like how Unleashed 1 had the story mode, but without like experience. Like you take the like leveling up thing out the door, because that's more of like an RPG element anyway.
Sure.
Not really necessary to a core game.
Yeah.
I did not get a chance to play the story mode, so do keep in mind that's one thing I was not allowed access to. The beta just didn't have that.
Gotcha.
So that was something the build did not have. So I don't know what the story mode's going to offer, but from what I've been told is a lot of the like big trucks, like for example, Max D, Gravedigger, Thunder Oris, yada yada yada. Those are boss trucks. So those are what like you will have to face and take down in order to progress through the story and unlock those trucks. And
gotcha.
Liveries.
And that makes sense. I'm just wondering, like, will you be able to increase the power of your truck, like Steel Titans?
That I was not told about. Like, they didn't give us access to the tuning options. That was one thing that was again locked. So probably we'll have to wait till closer to launch when they reveal that.
They need to do it fast. They need to get it going.
Yeah, they're working super hard on it. So from what I've been told is they are working super, super hard on getting it.
We've got just a little over 2 months here, right?
Yeah, and it does take a lot of time to optimize, especially with Unreal Engine 5, which is what this game is running off of.
Yeah. Now, I know you probably don't have the answer to this because you didn't get to play the story mode, but one of the questions I got was, is there going to be like an open world similar to Steel Titans?
From what I've been told is the environments are the 3 environments that we have. Obviously, that's what we know. I believe there's no open world per se, but I believe you can do like stunts and like a 2-wheel skills challenge in an off-road environment or a freestyle thing, which we've seen that's something you can do.
they wouldn't be all connected, but you could maybe explore.
Yeah, like you could explore them to like different paths you could take, find secrets. Kind of like how Steel Titans did the same thing, but like less of an open world. So it's not like how massive Steel Titans 1 and 2's open worlds were, which were like ridiculously huge. I mean, that's
right. Well, yeah. So Steel Titans basically created an open world and then made tracks out of it. This sounds like it's going to be making tracks and then allow you to explore those tracks in different game modes. That's kind of what
I think the approach is too. That's from what I've been seeing and from what other people have told me.
And to be honest, I kind of like that idea better because it means that they're putting more emphasis onto the track creation. And from what we've seen in the trailers, that the tracks actually look really good. All right. So this is another question that you probably won't be able to answer, but there was some question as to sponsored trucks like Ramunator and Ramunition. Any word on whether or not those will be included?
As of right now, I don't think they are because of licensing, but it is possible if the license agreement is renewed to where they both, of course, have the Dodge Ram sponsorship, then we could potentially see it as like a DLC down the road, but I don't think it's going to be base game.
Okay, so we know that there's the 3 main biomes. We've got the Alaska, the Colorado, and the Grand Canyon, right? Do you know how many tracks and races will be in each of those biomes? What I've been
told is there's at least 3 or 4 per biome from the version I played. Do keep in mind this could very well change. I don't know exactly how many, but I know from what I played about 2 to 3 of those races.
Gotcha. So how about like the indoor, like the arenas and the stadiums? Do you know how many of those are going to be in there?
I do not know exactly how many, but I do know that there are a good chunk of them. Like, so from the ones I played, there were 4 that I played, and they were kind of short ones. So they weren't like super big ones, like the big stadiums. I didn't get a chance to play that because again, I was only limited to 2 hours of the game. So I didn't get enough time to really play the game long enough to do that. To say anything on that.
Okay, cool. Do you know anything about any of the other game modes? I know you weren't able to play multiplayer, but do you know anything about Survivor or Horde mode? Do you know anything about those?
I know Survivor mode is like, you know how like in Forza Horizon 5, for example, how there's a game mode called Infection, where basically there's a team of zombies, right, trying to attack you. And you have to try and survive, try and survive the entire horde of zombies. And if zombies get all of you, they win. If you survive, you win. It's essentially the same. It's like zombies versus hunters kind of thing. But the only difference is the zombies are after the hunters, so they're essentially you're the prey, and you're just trying to run away and basically try to survive.
Now, is this a mode that you've played, or is this what you're speculating?
That's what I was told. I did not get a chance to play it very much because, again, I was limited as to what time I could do. I mostly spent time on racing and freestyle because that's the 2 things I like the most.
Okay, cool. So now, one more thing here. You mentioned weather effects. Do you know anything about any other weather effects other than the rain?
So the rain effects to me, that's the only thing I know for sure that was done. I know the desert heat is one thing that definitely happens. So like it kind of like, you know how like when you go into the desert, how hot it gets and you have that like hazing effect in certain spots, like sunlights and such. That's essentially what it's going to be like for the desert. And for the snow, you'll have like, sometimes you'll have it snowing. So like it'll snow from time to time.
Will it ever be rainy in the desert or snowy in Colorado?
More likely, yes. That's something you can encounter, but I didn't encounter it personally when I played it. So I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if it's 100% guaranteed. That's, again, just a speculation at this point. Okay. But we'll find out more closer to the game's launch. They'll talk more.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, John. Thank you for hanging out with me and giving this interview. Appreciate all of your insight. Looking forward to playing some multiplayer showdown with you here in a little bit. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys on the flip side.